Hi, so I am Nadira. I'm going to present my report in PowerPoint. So first, the agenda of this presentation is going to be first the introduction and then related works, followed by initial data exploratory, and then data pre-processing, feature engineering, and followed by EDA and then hypothesis. So as for introduction, the dataset that is being analyzed or prepared for this assignment is from Lending Club loan status data. So Lending Club is a peer-to-peer lending company which match borrowers and lenders in online platforms so that lenders can generate revenue from interest rate that borrowers are willing to pay, and then Lending Club will charge a service fee for the lenders to generate their revenue. And then the motivation of this project is to clean data for analysis purpose. And then two data sets were created, which is quantitative and qualitative data, and then followed by exploratory data analysis, which will help in having deeper understanding on the data set. And lastly, five hypotheses were came out with uh, and lastly, five hypotheses is found based on the analysis done in Tableau. So for related works, it is found that most of the analysis done related to peer-to-peer lending dataset is to study credit risk assessment for uh, credit risk assessment of borrowers, because the lenders need to know which data is which loan they should invest on. Next, analysis on business performance of online peer-to-peer lending, which is for market expansion and risk management. As for market expansion, it is more on identifying business problems like a lack of lenders in the platform, which will result to lack of revenues generated by the platform. And then for risk management, it is more on providing lenders with information that can help them to make decisions like which loan they should invest on. And then lastly, popular algorithm used for the analysis related to peer-to-peer lending data sets are random forest, logistic regressions, and naive bayes. Next, initial data exploratory. In this stage, we studied the datasets as a whole. So it is found that there are 144 columns and each attributes is identified. The scale of measurements for each attributes were identified, which is 24. 24 of the attributes are nominal, 49 are ordinal, 3 are interval, and 68 is a ratio scale. And then feature selection is being done based on attributes uh, characteristics. So first, in order to reduce the columns, uh, the attributes with higher than 50% missing values is taken out, and then followed by attributes that has redundant information and columns that is unnecessary for analysis. And lastly, based on the column chosen, which is only 21 columns, the missing values is checked whether there is missing values in the data set and also suspected outliers. So after running statistics measurement in SAS, it is found that annual income and DTI, debt to income ratio, have high more than plus minus 3 values, so it is suspected to have outliers. So after running computations as in SAS, it is found that there are one outliers in annual income, which is the value is extremely higher in relative to the whole dataset. so it need to be treated. And then debt to income ratio also have outliers. So the one higher than interquartile, the one that is the values that are higher than high interquartile limit are not necessarily outliers, because it is logic to have that values, as the debt applied for debt consolidations and credit refinancings. So the outliers here is could be only the value that is extremely higher, like the one more than 900. And then data pre-processing will be done to treat the missing values and outliers identified in annual income and DTI columns. So as for the missing values, the missing value is first investigated, and it is found that for the 10 missing values in DTI, there are also outliers in the same rows for annual income. So as they are in the same rows, they are being treated in the same way, which is by using mean imputation. So first, these values are being taken out, and then mean calculation will be done based on the column for each annual income and DTI, and then the mean value will be imputed in that particular rows. Next is feature engineering. In this process, two data sets were generated, which is quantitative and qualitative data sets. For quantitative data set, we convert all the qualitative data into quantitative. So it is converted uh, in numbers. For example, like before feature engineering, there are categories like loan status, which is fully paid, to charge off, and then also late payment. So we will categorize in terms of number, like 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then as for qualitative data, it will be converted into the quantitative data will be converted into qualitative based on grouping that is done by understanding the domain of the data, which is credit risk assessment, also on loan financing, and so on, and then followed by statistical measurement for data that cannot be categorized in based on the domain knowledge alone. For example, like for DTI, it is considered that value below 30 is considered a good DTI. However, most of DTI values are under 30, so it is not suitable to group them in good and bad DTI, because it could be seen as a bias at the end, because most of the data has values less than 30% DTI. So it is better to use statistical measurement to group the data. As for EDA, exploratory data analysis, for quantitative data set, it is found that the total amount of income are total amount of loan made by the borrowers are not not directly related to the interest rate, but then it can be seen here that the interest rate, which is in the interest rate, the average interest rate being offered by lending club have the highest loan amount requested by the borrowers. And as for qualitative, it can be seen that borrowers with low DTI have higher records of fully paid loan status, and for DTI that is high, the records for charge-off is higher compared to low. So lenders can depends on this character to make decisions like which loan they should invest on. As for hypothesis, the analysis is done on Tableau where this graph were obtained, and then it is found that the borrowers mostly pick a medium range of interest rate provided by lending club to apply for some amount of loan, and then most of the loan applied with high interest rate were given in fractional amount instead of a whole, which is the initial status of the loan. And then the amount of loan borrowed are larger for borrowers that has less employment length, except for borrowers who have employment length of more than 10 years, which applied for the largest amount of loan compared to others. So if we exclude borrowers with employment length more than 10 years, it is found that the less employment length, the higher the amount of loan being borrowed. And then next, borrowers with low DTI and verified source of income are more likely to pay the loan in time. Lastly, the employment length does not really play the role in predicting whether the borrower will pay the loan or not. So employment length can only give the overview on the amount of loan, but not the prediction on whether they will pay the loan or not. This is because the distribution of loan status in regards to loan status are the same for all of the category of employment length. So that is all for me, and details explanation can be found in the report. Thank you.